What they don't tell you about the first few weeks of motherhood, I will tell you for free, my lovelies. Welcome to Confessions of a New Mom with Ese Talks. "24 hours after my bundle of joy was born, I was ecstatic. I was over the moon. I am now a mother. I went back home. Indeed, I was so joyful, and I knew I was blessed because this child was mine. It was real, right? So I went back home, and on the third day, I remember that's when I started lactating, because when I had my baby, I wasn't lactating properly. And so my baby had to be on formula for about 2 days. Yes, I remember vividly, because I intentionally wanted to have exclusive breastfeeding for my child for 6 months, right? But for every mom, it's different, right? Because our bodies are different. I know of a friend that had a baby recently, and she told me the day she delivered, she started lactating like a fountain. I always feel jealous of women like that. It's not always the same for each mom. So, but anyways, it was fine. By the third day, I started lactating properly. And being a new mom, I was novel to all of this. So it was really a struggle for me. And my newborn was also struggling to latch on. And because I didn't have enough knowledge about breastfeeding, right? I didn't know it's not just about the mom. It also involves your little one latching on properly. I had no idea, trust me. So my baby was struggling and I was struggling. So we had not built that connection when it came to breastfeeding at the time on the third day, but I kept going. I didn't want to stop because I really wanted to get it. I wanted it to be done right, because I was really intent on breastfeeding my child for 6 months. So by the third day, I started lactating well. My baby wasn't still latching on properly, and this was a challenge for me, and I really didn't know who to talk to or who to ask. The following week, there's this checkup they do, I think on day 5 for babies, newborns. So I went to the hospital, and then I saw the pediatrician, and they gave a diagnosis that my baby had jaundice. And I was like, wait, what? This was just strange to me, because before now, I've heard of jaundice, but I really didn't know it's something that affected newborns. And I gave birth to a healthy child. So I started questioning myself, like, what did I do wrong? Did I not eat right? Is this something I didn't do right? Like, why does she have jaundice? And immediately I broke down there and there in front of the doctor. I was with my mom, and the doctor was like, no, madam, don't cry. In my mind, I was like, doctor, do you know what I went through to have to push this baby out? It was just 5 days ago here, and you're giving me this diagnosis. I shouldn't cry. But anyways, I was not deterred. I still had faith in God that it was a little situation and it was going to blow over. But I was still scared because this was my newborn and she was looking so fragile. How can you have jaundice? So immediately we had to be admitted because the jaundice percentage was quite high at the time. So she had to be admitted in the hospital for about 2 or 3 days, I think, thereabout. And during that period, like I said, we were still trying to find our rhythm. We were struggling when it came to breastfeeding. I was lactating, but not as much as I would have preferred. And then my baby was struggling to latch on, right? So, and this caused a lot of problem for me at the time, because then it gave me, what's this thing? There's something that women call it. I think midwives, they call it sore nipples. It has many names, but anyways, it's one of those things. I had sore nipples. And they will tell you, your midwife will come and tell you, you still have to breastfeed that child through it all. That baby put that injury there. It is the baby's mouth that will heal that injury. I'm like, what? Is the baby's mouth an ointment? How? And do you know what it's like to breastfeed while your nipples are cracked? It's like having an injury and then you're putting salt or you're putting methylated spirit. That's how painful it is. But then these are some of the perks of being a mom. You have to endure, you have to go through, because of course you do not want your newborn to starve. So while we were admitted in the hospital, they had to put this UV light on the baby. They had to put that light on her, and they told me that for her to get better, you need to keep breastfeeding even when she's on that light. And they will strip the baby of all clothes, just Pampers. They'll have to cover the baby's eyes. And oh my God, my heart really was breaking for my child at the time. It was, trust me, one of the hardest times for me as a new mother. I just delivered and I had to go through this, and I wasn't prepared. It's not something you're prepared for, to be honest, because it just came suddenly. My heart was really breaking for my baby because she was crying. She wasn't having it at all, especially with the whole eye patch, and then she was naked, the UV light, and she was struggling to feed. Oh, Trust me, this was hard. I remember vividly one time, my mom had to go back home. My husband took her home to go prepare a meal for me, and I was left with the baby. I had not slept. Now, just picture this. I had not slept. I was sleep deprived. My baby, I had to feed her. She was crying and screaming at the top of her lungs. I was healing. I wasn't strong yet. And then I just broke down. I called my husband immediately. I started crying. Like, I don't know what to do. She won't stop crying. No, just help me picture this for a moment. Like, just thinking about it now, it brings tears to my eyes, because it's not how I'm saying it. It was really hard for me, guys. It was so hard. But I'm glad I overcame that situation. And I thank God for a support system, a wonderful support system. My husband was really supportive, and my mom. There are some very peculiar changes I experienced as a first-time mom. And I would love to share them with you, because these are things that I discovered that some women experience them during their pregnancy journey. And like I shared in my previous video, that I really escaped some of these special gifts that came with pregnancy. But after I had my baby, I got the shocker of my life, ladies and gentlemen. You see that swollen feet I talked about in my last video? Acne? It came, and it came like a storm. My feet were so swollen. The first few days, in fact, the first week postpartum, after I had my baby, my feet were swollen. I was like, what's happening? I thought this was a symptom that was only common with pregnant women. I sincerely had no idea that as a first-time mom, sometimes, for some women, you can experience this. It's part of the changes that comes with having a baby. My feet were swollen. I have a picture I'll show you guys. They were swollen. So every time I needed to be seated, or if I needed to breastfeed my baby, I'll be told to lift up my feet. That's the only way the swelling would go down. They were so swollen that they were jiggling like jelly. It wasn't even funny. And I was feeling a little bit of pain. But I think after about 2 weeks or so, it came down on its own. Another thing that stood out for me was acne. I never had acne during my pregnancy journey. But immediately my baby dropped. It's like they sent this acne from the pit of hell. I have a particular video I made on the day my baby was born. And I think I'd love for you guys to see that video. My face was covered everywhere. There was no space. The acne came from nowhere. It was like, why? I was on my baby girl era throughout the 9 months and 2 weeks of my pregnancy journey. But immediately my baby dropped, I started seeing changes that I didn't even know where it was from. This acne it was from the pit of hell. There's nothing you can tell me, because it was so bad. And then another thing was that I had hyperpigmentation. Until this day, my hyperpigmentation has not cleared. I still have some of it on my neck. So I had a lot of it on my face and my neck, some parts of my chest. And it really took a long time. In fact, some of it is still clearing, like I said. So those were some of the changes that I experienced. Another thing was that I had a very large appetite. My previous video, I remember saying that my first trimester was hard because I kept throwing up, and I wasn't eating properly, so I was really thin. You wouldn't hardly even know I was pregnant in my second trimester until when I was heavy. But after giving birth, I discovered that my appetite just increased. I don't know if it comes with, giving birth. Maybe I might be wrong, but personally for me, I started eating like I was a thief. Ask me why my husband would buy a full loaf of bread and I'll finish half in a day. Why? Are you a thief? I wasn't even minding anybody. I would finish that food. Then anything I could find, I would just eat. I was eating, like my stomach opened so well. And it worked for my favor because it's good. As I was eating, I was breastfeeding properly. So it was working hand in hand. But what I didn't know was that the after effect was I was going to add so much weight. Which brings me to my other point. Another change that, this one I didn't really like it, was that I added so much weight. It was a drastic weight gain. That's what I would like to call it. Yes, it was drastic because before I got married, before my pre-pregnancy weight, I was petite. Most people know me as a petite girl, petite essay, right? But after my baby dropped, it was like I was round. It was like I was swollen. I could not even believe my eyes. It was this bad that I had people, when I would go out, people would tell me, "Oh my God, you're so fat." I would see their faces like, I don't even know if to call it shock or if they were actually seriously concerned about my weight gain, but I felt bad. My self-esteem took a hit, guys. I don't want to cry, but I'm serious. I felt so bad. My weight gain, it was drastic, and that was a very huge change that I experienced that personally I didn't like that part. If you would ask me how I coped the first few weeks of motherhood, I would directly tell you that it was not an easy journey. As much as I was very optimistic about meeting my newborn, when that time came, having the baby and just living through it was a different experience than what I had imagined, right? It was hard for me mentally and emotionally. And to be very honest, I think if we as parents want to come out and tell the truth that being a first-time parent, it affects some marriages. It really takes the grace of God for couples to be able to hold down the fort and just do it together, especially if you have a kind and understanding partner. And I'm so blessed with the kind of partner God gave to me. He was really there for me, despite this hard times for me, because I was really a different woman, a different person, because now I had a baby I needed to nurture. I had a baby I needed to cater to. And most times I would always panic, like this was real. I know a lot of mothers experiences that you always get scared, oh, is the baby breathing fine? But for me, it was really extreme. I was always panicking. My mom was around for me for about a month for Omugo. But I was always panicking. I would leave my bedroom, and I would go to the baby's room. I would always check if she's breathing. And I was doing this every 20 minutes. I'm not even joking. Even at night when they would tell you sleep when the baby's sleeping. I wasn't sleeping. I would go and check if the baby is breathing, check if she's okay. I hope she's not rolling to her side, covering her face with a blanket. I would check if her bottles are sterilized. I needed to be somewhere. I needed to be doing something. And this is a very crucial time for new moms, for them to rest. This is a time for them to relax. You need to heal because our body is trying to get back, to being whole. Let me put it like that, right? Because we've just birthed a human being. So, but in my case, I was worried for reasons I don't even know. I would panic unnecessarily. I was just all over the place. My emotions were just all over the place. It was really not funny. So I wasn't really doing very well mentally that first few weeks, first few months, postpartum, after my baby dropped. I wasn't really doing so great, if I'm being honest. But then, after a while, I think I got the hang of it. And I discovered that, there's nothing to worry about. You got this essay, you're a strong girl, you're a strong woman. And also having a great support system for me. I know I always talk about my support system. I'm saying it because it's true. Because motherhood is not a solo journey. It's not something you can do alone. Especially those first few weeks when our bodies is still recovering as women. It's really hard. Most people don't come out here and tell you how hard it is for them mentally. Some even fall into postpartum depression. And I'll really delve into that in my next video. Talk about more things and share other experiences from other women out there that have experienced what I'm talking about now. So overall, my motherhood journey in the first few weeks was sincerely a delight. It was a novel journey. It was a rush. It was beautiful. It was hard. It's something that I would love to experience again, but of course this time as an experienced mom. But overall, I just thank God for strength. I thank God for life. I thank God for community. I thank God for family. I'm sincerely hoping that there are first-time moms watching this video right now, or if you know any first-time mom struggling, whether a spouse, a relative, or a sibling, please do well to share this video with them. And if you're watching as well, leave a comment. You can tell me about your experience as a first-time mom, the first few weeks, what it was like for you. And I really hope that my video encourages you and uplifts your spirits. And if you're struggling as a first-time mom, I want to encourage you, hang in there. It's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. I know sometimes it seems so hard, but I promise you, you have been equipped for this journey called motherhood. You can do it. You are strong. You are powerful. And remember that motherhood is not a solo journey. Thank you for watching Confessions of a New Mom. It's Ese Talks. Bye.